Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get stuck straight into these tips for Supercard Season 9 and try and help you guys get to that top tier as quick as possible. The first thing I want to address is that temptation to spend some of those credits on some of these packs that come up in the store. If you're free to play, just save them for the event boosters and stuff like that. It's going to be far more beneficial to advancing than taking the chance on getting a lot of cards that you're not even going to be able to use, so avoid them completely. The only thing you should be getting from the store are those free packs that come up every 4 hours. The rewards aren't always great, but you know what? If they're free, take them. The next thing is the Super Coin store. This can be very helpful at the start of any tier. As you can see, I did get the Extinction card there for Eric, which did help me get started on that tier. The important thing to know is don't buy these cards unless you can actually make the pro. Survivor Series is just around the corner, so once that timer runs down, they will have the event cards for that and most likely the octane tier. So if you have coins, save them up. And again, if you can make the pro, get them. If not, save them until the Royal Rumble tier comes out in January. Don't buy these cards mid or end of tier because they tend to be outdated very quickly once the new tier starts, so they can be a waste of super coins. Always do them at the start of any tier. Now, every week we get the solo events. If you are on the top tier, there is an event card that's always way more powerful than the other cards of that same tier. If you're not at that top tier, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try the event. Try and get the best card that you possibly can from the event, which will always help you get closer to that next level. These are also my rewards from the Giants Unleashed. See, I've got a pixel card there, which can always come in handy as you're trying to work your way up the ranks, even though it's one tier lower. The best card there, let's have a quick look. Okay, my rewards for the defeated Giant were worse than the ones for the undefeated Giant. But that's the way it rolls sometimes. Keeping it real here, guys. As much as I would have loved for that to be one of those magical moments where I got a octane pull or something, wasn't to be. While you guys are trying to get to that next tier, one thing I want to quickly show you is just how you can use the pixel tier to just be a little bit of a buffer so that you're not having to use the BCE or arcane cards to fill your deck. Making some of these pixel cards into pros is actually better than some of the base level Extinction cards. The way that I've been doing that is just level them to 100, make the pro, level to 105. Don't worry about the 100 matches because you're not going to be using them for very long. They're just that little bit of a buffer, and as you can see, my best female card at the moment is actually a pixel card at F1, which I've been lucky enough to get a few of Asuka so far. Most of them were actually from TLC, I think it was. But that's just a quick way that you can make your deck just a little bit stronger for both the male and females until you get the pros of that next tier. Next thing to look at is your team events. If you're not with an active team, I advise that you get out now and find one that is active, because all of these events can get you those rewards. Even if they're a second tier reward, there's usually a lot of super coins and things like that involved. So you're always going to have the chance to grow with an active team. Even if you're losing some of these events, don't be discouraged, because the team will always get stronger together, and eventually you'll start working out better strategies in order to complete these events and get the top rewards. Which brings me to the next point. They've actually updated the PvP so that you don't have to get as many points for the top rewards. I'm already at the second highest. I think it's 12,500, and that will unlock all 5 momentum slots now. I think you need 20,000 points total to get that top reward. Now, if you do manage to get that, you actually have an opportunity there to pull an octane card from those rewards. So it's well worth grinding that out as much as possible and giving yourself every chance to get to that top tier as quick as possible. In my opinion, the best mode in PvP to do this is the Royal Rumble. simply because you can get over 100 points every single time, and you will win a lot more times than you lose. And I will do a separate video just to show you how to maximize the Royal Rumble, not just for points, but also training your cards up, which can be done really quick in this mode. And that leads me to the next part, which is your draft board. The more picks that you can get off this, the better your chances of getting that top tier pool come up, but it also gives you what you need to fill that dust meter and get that all important exclusive draft pick. Worst case scenario is it will take you 16 turns to get that top tier pool, but once you get it, that's another card that you can add to your collection. And as a free to play player, all you need to do is simply play the game and you can get one of the top cards for that tier. Personally, I can do this 2 to 3 times a day, so you can get through those 16 cards quite quickly if your luck is as bad as mine. Speaking of playing as many matches as possible, in your trophies you'll see the ladder rewards here. The more games you play, the quicker that you can get a top tier card as well. So it's well worth grinding out a lot of those different game modes, and you'll find that you get them quite quickly. So I'm almost at 1,000 matches already for this season. So I should be able to pick up that next card sometime later today, I would imagine. Now obviously King of the Ring and Survivor are really good ways to get cards, especially Survivor. If you're not playing it, you really should start doing it. But the other thing you've got to do every single day, make sure you're completing these daily challenges. Those tickets that you get really add up. Now I will save them for an entire tier and only ever spend them at the start of the next tier. You'll usually have at least 500 of them that you can spend all in one go. Only ever get that top pack that you can see there, because that will give you an opportunity to get a card from the top tier. Even though the odds aren't really that good, I have gotten a few top tier cards from this in the past, which really gives you that little bit of a push at the start of a season, or start of a tier, sorry, and it can really give you a pretty good start just to kick things off. Also, every week we do get the Wild Wednesday challenges. These are actually pretty easy to complete, and it will also give you a chance at one of those top tier cards. So don't be afraid to do them. If you want a really quick tip when it comes to Wild, because you do have to get a number of undefeated wins as well as that continuous streak, which can be a little bit complicated sometimes for people, but a quick tip for that: when you go into your deck, put a really weak card, the weakest card that you have, just in that last male slot there, and you'll find that it reduces the tier that you're up against, and you can usually beat them quite easily. Then it's just a matter of drawing cards off the draft board, which you're going to do throughout play anyway. So the Wild Wednesday challenge you can beat pretty quickly, usually within an hour if you're a little bit organized with it. The last thing that I just want to go through is these little events that they bring up. So TLC is the new one. I've gotten quite a few pretty cool rewards off that. So you really want to be playing them when they bring up things like the tag team games or the 24/7. Make sure you're grinding them out as much as possible, because the rewards are okay off these ones. And as free to play, you want to take advantage of these cards as often as you possibly can. If you have a look at the rewards for TLC just by itself, you'll see that with a win, you can actually get your tier card. So I've had a few Extinction cards already come up from this mode, but I've also had quite a few Pixel cards which have helped just buff my deck up just a little bit, so I'm not using cards that are too old and can't really win any matches. So even just for finding the individual ones, you can see here, you still get some decent rewards from there. There's Pixel cards as potential rewards just from finding each part. So even if you don't win, the rewards are still okay from it. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope this helps you out. Hope you all get to Octane tier pretty quickly. If you're watching this further down the track, it should still help you out moving through any tier throughout the season. Things don't usually change that much in between. If you did find this helpful, don't forget to like and sub. I'll have a few more tutorials coming your way just to help out the free-to-play players. So I hope to see you guys in the next video.